Throw away, my husband cheated on me, and I don't know what to do. Hi everyone, I'm writing this on a throwaway account because I don't want anyone to know what I'm going through. I recently found out that my husband, David, has been cheating on me. We've been married for 8 years, and I thought we were happy. I found out when I saw some texts from a woman named Rachel on his phone. They were flirtatious, and it was clear they had been seeing each other for a few months. I confronted him, and he admitted everything. He said it was a mistake, that he never meant to hurt me, and that he still loves me. But I can't get the images out of my mind. I feel so betrayed, so lost. I don't know if I can ever trust him again. I've been crying nonstop, barely eating or sleeping. My friends and family have been supportive, but they all have different advice. Some say I should leave him, others say I should try to work it out. I'm so confused and hurt. I don't know what to do. I just needed to get this off my chest. I'll keep you all updated. Update 1. Update trying to move forward. Hi everyone. Thank you for all your kind words and support. It means a lot to me during this difficult time. David and I have been talking a lot. He's been going to therapy and has been trying to make amends. He's been open about everything, answering all my questions, and has cut off all contact with Rachel. He seems genuinely remorseful and says he wants to do whatever it takes to fix our marriage. I've started therapy too, trying to process everything and figure out what I want. It's been really hard. Some days I feel like I can forgive him, and other days the pain feels too fresh. I keep replaying everything in my head, wondering what I did wrong, why I wasn't enough. We've decided to try marriage counseling. I don't know if it will work, but I feel like I owe it to myself and to our history to try. I still love him, and part of me wants to believe that we can get through this. But I'm also scared of getting hurt again. I'll let you all know how it goes. Thank you again for your support. Final update 1. Final update. Taking the first steps towards forgiveness. Hello everyone. I wanted to give you an update on what's been happening. David and I have been going to marriage counseling for a few months now. It hasn't been easy, and there have been many tears and difficult conversations, but slowly, we've been making progress. Our therapist has helped us communicate better and understand each other's feelings. David has been doing everything he can to regain my trust. He's been patient and understanding, giving me the space I need while still showing his commitment to our marriage. He's made significant changes, and I can see that he's genuinely trying to be a better person and husband. I've had to work on myself too, learning to cope with the betrayal and rebuilding my self-esteem. It's been a long and painful journey, but I've started to see a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm beginning to believe that forgiveness is possible, and that we can create a new, stronger relationship. I've decided to take David back. It wasn't an easy decision, and I know it won't be smooth sailing from here. But I love him, and I want to give us a second chance. I've realized that forgiveness is a process, not a destination, and I'm willing to put in the work to heal and move forward. Thank you all for your support and encouragement. It's been a lifeline for me during this difficult time. I hope that sharing my story can help others who are going through similar experiences. Final update 2. Final update. Rebuilding together. Hello everyone. This will be my final update. It's been almost a year since I first found out about David's affair. Looking back, I can't believe how far we've come. We're still in marriage counseling, and it has made a world of difference. We've learned to communicate more openly and honestly, and we've grown closer as a result. David continues to show his commitment to our marriage every day. He's become more attentive, more loving, and more present. I can see the changes in him, and it gives me hope. I've learned to trust him again, little by little, and while the pain of his betrayal hasn't completely gone away, it's no longer the defining feature of our relationship. I've also grown stronger through this process. I've learned to value myself more, to set boundaries, and to communicate my needs and feelings. It's been a hard journey, but I'm proud of the progress I've made. We're not perfect, and we still have challenges to face, but I'm confident that we can face them together. Rebuilding trust and intimacy takes time, but we're committed to making it work. I'm glad I decided to give our marriage another chance. It wasn't an easy decision, but I believe it was the right one for us. Thank you all for your support and kind words throughout this difficult time. Your encouragement helped me more than you know. I hope my story can provide hope to others going through similar situations. Thank you for being part of my journey. Here's to new beginnings and a brighter future. For more stories, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Thanks. Original post, June 9, 2024. I'm using a throwaway because if any of my friends or family see this, I don't want them to know my main account, since I have some very private things on there. IF 21, lost my mom when I was 14. Dad remarried when I was 17. My stepmom has a daughter, F15. She and dad had a boy M3, and now she just gave birth to a little girl. Anyway, I have worked since I was 16, to have so money to buy stuff for me. When I turned 18, Dad said I was now an adult and should start paying rent. It was only $500. A symbolic amount since he would still cover food and other essentials. I was mad and we fought, but in the end I accepted, and that was the arrangement until 7 months ago. Dad came to me saying I had 2 months to move out. Stepmom was pregnant and they would need my room for the baby. Which is insane because they both have private offices. My stepmom doesn't even need one since she's a som since the birth of my baby brother. Nonetheless, they told me I had to move. BTW, just an addendum, me and stepmom get well fine. We don't fight or bicker. I don't think this was an evil stepmom moment, but who knows? Me and stepsister are actually pretty close. I help her with homework and talk about her personal problems. I do love her very much. Back to the story, I didn't know what to do. I'm going to a college. I want to be a civil engineer and work part-time. I don't have the means to live by myself. I called my aunt, asking if I could move in with her for the time being, until I figured something out, offered to pay rent and all. She was aghast at what Dad was doing. She said I absolutely could live with her, no rent needed, but also said she was going to deal with my dad. The next day Grandpa came to our house and they talked privately. I could hear my dad's angry voice, but couldn't understand anything being said. After a while Grandpa came to my room and said I had 3 choices. The first was continue living with Dad and stepmom like I was doing, nothing would change except without paying rent. The second was moving in with him and Grandma, or my aunt. Third was find a place of my own and he would pay the rent and costs for me. He said I didn't need to choose now, I could keep living with Dad, and if I changed my mind to just tell him. I was actually relieved I could still live with Dad, and that this madness was over. For the following days and weeks, Dad and stepmom were very hostile towards me, and I felt incredibly uncomfortable being in my own home. Even Cassie picked this up and asked me why they were angry at me. So I decided to move out and told Grandpa. He said he would take care of everything. Few weeks later he moved me into one of his rental units. The apartment is lovely. He bought me a fridge, stove, and other essential items. He gave me a check for $15,000 saying this money is to help me start living on my own. And that as long as I am working or studying, I can live there rent-free for as long as I want. My dad and I have been pretty low contact since I moved out. He never came to visit me, or I visit them. I miss them a lot, especially my stepsister, but I'm still hurt. 2 weeks ago, my stepmom gave birth. I visited them in the hospital. It was a little awkward, but nice seeing them and my baby sister. Anyway, few days ago Dad calls me, saying he misses me, the children misses me, and I should move back home. He apologized for asking me to move out, etc., 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 and I told him I would think about it. Yesterday I visited my aunt and was telling her what my dad said, and my cousin laughed a little and said I'm sure he does. I asked what he meant, and that's when they told me a lot of, until now, unknown information. Basically, my dad's home is actually my grandpa's, as is my aunt's. Basically the deal he made with me, he did with all his kids and some grandkids as well. He never wanted any of his family to have to worry about basic stuff like house and food, etc. When I called my aunt that time, she called Grandpa, which was furious with Dad, not only for kicking me out, but also for charging me rent. That day he went to my dad's and tore him a new one, and threatened to have him evicted. But now the petty part, you know that $15,000 Grandpa gave me? It's actually what I paid Dad in rent all that time. And now he's making Dad pay him back. Also, he's charging Dad $1,200 for the rent loss in apartment I'm living in. Call me dumb or naive, but until now, I never realized my dad didn't make that much money. We lived in a great house, always went on vacations, and lived very comfortable lives, but I guess Grandpa has always been helping behind the scenes. Now my cousin thinks Dad is struggling with 3 kids at home, a single income, and having to pay it back to Grandpa. So he says Dad wants me back because he imagines Grandpa will stop punishing him if I'm back living with them. Honestly, I don't know what to do. I'm actually loving living on my own these past 6 months. But I do really miss them. I miss my siblings. I miss the life we had before all of this, but I don't know if moving back home is the right answer. And also, I'm hurt. The reason he wants me back is money. Honestly, I just wanted to vent. Relevant comments. Land off, puffs. Stay right where you are. You can miss them and love them from afar. Go be with your grandfather and your aunt's family. They seem like the real family. Also, try to go see a therapist. Oop responds to several comments. He doesn't want you though, he wants money. And knowing this is always going to hurt you and chip away at your self-worth. This is the weird part. Because I know this. But also, it's difficult seeing my dad that way. These past 6 months I wondered why he kicked me out. If I had done something. Now I'm thinking, was it all about money? How about starting new traditions with your aunt and grandparents? They love you and want you around. Yeah. They've been great. I visit them whenever possible. Grandma isn't in the best of health, but she even came to visit me on my birthday. I'm very lucky to have them and their support. And thanks for the kind words. Also, I have a feeling your grandfather would, but unconvinced to change the rent your father is paying even if you were to move back. He is charging your father to make a point, not to actually cover your expenses. It makes sense. I've been reading what people say and I'm more comfortable with staying where I am. Less guilty. But maybe I should talk with Grandpa about it, to hear his side. I now realize I've been too sheltered from information I think I need. Update, June 17, 2024. I wanted to give you guys an update. Since you've all been so helpful and kind to me. I was so overwhelmed by the support you gave me. Thanks 1,000 times. Before, just answering some questions people had. My aunt and grandpa are from my father's side of the family. My mom's side, unfortunately, I don't have much contact. My grandparents have passed away before mom. I have uncles and aunts I see once in a while, but they don't live close. I also have 2 other uncles from my father's side. I'm close to them, but not as near my aunt. She was my rock when mom died. I consider her a second mom. My stepmom knew about the rent I was paying. It was implied stepsister would need to do the same when she turned 18. But I don't know if she knew dad didn't own the house, or the extent of how much grandpa has financially helped dad. To the update. Monday, the day after my post, I called dad and said I decided to not move back. I didn't mention anything I was told, just that was well settled here, and moving back seemed like a step back. But I also said I wanted to keep in contact with them. They could invite me for dinner whenever they wanted, and I also said I would love for my stepsister and brother to be able to spend time with me here at home. He was disappointed, and I didn't feel any angriness in his tone at least. But he basically said a "we'll see" and left at that. I was also disappointed. But then Friday he called me, asked me if I wanted to have lunch Sunday today. I said I already had plans with grandpa and grandma. He asked when I would be free. So we scheduled a dinner for Thursday. I haven't told any of this to my stepsister. We talk and text regularly. Just so haven't heard they talking about me. But she did say her grandma, her mom's mom, is there to help with the baby and is being incredibly annoying. I laughed at that. I wanted to offer her to sleep over here, but didn't want to get her excited just for dad to say no, so I'll try talk with him Thursday. The big update is I've just came back from visiting grandpa and grandma. We spent a lovely day together. But I also said I wanted to know everything that was going on. I wasn't a kid anymore and I felt like living in lies. The most important things were things my cousin and aunt told me last week. But there were a few more. Grandpa had been subsidizing quite often our basic needs, like school, healthcare, etc. Because dad hadn't 1 cent saved up according to grandpa. Also my college fund was mainly contributed by him, and mom before her passing. I guess that makes sense. I was also dumb to not realize this sooner. He also has set up funds for my baby siblings. And also one for my stepsister. Because he didn't want her to feel excluded and not have the same opportunities as her siblings. This man is incredible. I love him so much. And yes, I'm very lucky. I've seen so many people commenting this, not in a derogatory way, but being very supportive and nice. I know I'm very privileged to have grandparents and family members who can afford and are willing to help me. I hope one day I can help others the way they are helping me. For more stories, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Thanks. H for telling my sister gentle parenting is BS and kicking her and her family out of my house concluded I am not the original poster. That is you/logical_newspaper 981. They posted in /a myth. Jerk. Trigger warning, animal abuse. Mood spoiler, tentatively hopeful. Original post, June 12, 2024. My younger sister and her family, which includes her husband, and 2 kids. 3F5M were visiting my husband and I and staying at our home for a week. A little background, we don't live in the same state. I've had kids of my own, but they are young adults now and out of the house. My sister is much younger than me and is still in the young family stage. We've always had a pretty close and good relationship despite our age gap. My sister does gentle parenting. I'd never heard of that before she came to stay with us because I guess I'm out of the loop since my kids are grown now. She explained to me that gentle parenting means they don't do time out, don't do grounding, etc., but instead just talk about their feelings. I thought that was a bit odd because it sounds like there is zero discipline, but didn't say anything as to not rock the boat. Until I saw gentle parenting in action and was appalled. During the first 2 days of their stay, her daughter drew on my walls with crayon, and her son pulled up flowers I had recently planted in my garden bed and threw a rock at my car parked in the driveway. To top it all off, they both kept constantly pulling my golden retriever's hair and hitting my dog in the face. My dog is very sweet and a little on the older side, so she's very calm. She never bit, attempted to bite, or did anything that would harm or spook the kids. In every instance, I was expecting my sister or her husband to discipline the kids. They never did. So I did. Or at least I tried. Just me telling her kids to stop, or scolding them in the slightest made my sister lose her mind. She told me it's not my place to discipline them. I told her someone has to because they're messing up my home, but I agree it should be their parents scolding them. However, it seems their parents are not willing to. I told her they need a fairly stern punishment for what they've been doing, and she started going off about how they refuse to spank their kids like we were spanked as kids. I told her I'm not suggesting she spank her kids, but a stern talking to and making them clean up what they destroyed would be a good idea. She said what her kids were doing was not worth what I would call discipline. All she did in every instance was ask them, what kind of feelings are you having that made you do that? And that was it. So I realized this behavior was not going to stop, and my husband and I told them they need to find a hotel or go home. Even though we had planned for them to stay a full week, we couldn't handle more than 2 days because of the gentle parenting. I told her the gentle parenting is going to cause her kids to have a very hard life and rude awakening someday, probably even jail time. She argued back and really lost it when I told her this hippy-dippy gentle parenting shit is a scam and will ruin your kid's life, which I regret now but boiled over in the moment. Now she won't speak to me, and our mom says I'm in the wrong for kicking them out when they planned on staying longer. Am I the jerk? Relevant comment. Commenter, it would have worked way better than using violence and shouting. Most chronic negative childhood behaviors are the direct result of the parenting techniques of physical and verbal abuse/domination. Edit. What you did with their children was in fact gentle parenting. If they can't behave with the dog, then you remove the dog from them. What you did to your sister was also gentle parenting. It's about having boundaries. It sounds like she has none with her children, and that is as bad or worse than abuse parenting. Oop, I never used violence towards my children. And I should have said raised voice instead of yell, because that is more the point I was trying to get across. It's not realistic to expect a kid to only be exposed to a super calm tone 100% of the time and then be able to deal with a non-calm tone in the real world when they're grown. There are definitely circumstances where a raised voice is appropriate. If you don't agree, then it's okay, but I guess you're a monk. Update, same post, June 13th, 2024, next day update. I read the comments. Sounds like my sister's version of gentle parenting is not actually gentle parenting. However, the real gentle parenting lots of you are describing still sounds like an odd choice of parenting in my view, and if it was around when my kids were little, I can't imagine it would have worked on them. I guess this new generation of parents are just doing things differently. Not sure how that's going to work out in the long run for society, but to each their own. The world isn't gentle. How are all these gentle parented kids going to deal with the real world when someone yells at them, or does any of the things gentle parenting doesn't include? If our world was a perfect utopia, then gentle parenting sounds great, but it isn't, and it's not realistic to me. I don't plan on ever inviting my sister over to stay at my home again if her kids will be with her. That is, if she ever decides to even speak to me again. Which, even after all this, I do hope our relationship is mended, because she is still my sister. Just can't deal with her kids. Relevant comment. Commenter, hi. Gentle parent here. This isn't gentle parenting. You're still allowed to say no in gentle parenting. And part of me feels this is fake with how weirdly focused you are in gentle parenting itself instead of your sister's weird behavior. Oop, I'm so focused on gentle parenting because it is solely to blame for the downfall of mine and my sister's relationship, which I have always cherished. I am focused on my sister's behavior, but her behavior is being driven by her parenting style. She completely changed as a person when she implemented this parenting style. Commenter, the dog thing, sure. I'd be annoyed at your sister for not intervening, but all of the things you described are regular kid things for their ages tbh, and yelling at your sister and kicking them out after 2 days over it is a big reaction. If you consider pulling flowers and drawing on walls destroying your home, like what to tell you. Never have kids of your own, I guess. Oop, I did have kids of my own and they're grown now. They never did things like that because they knew there'd be consequences and didn't act like feral children. Commenter, it makes me happy to see so many people here defending what gentle parenting really is. It seems that OP is just posting here to justify harsh or physical punishments. It seems that the kids are less of an issue when compared to the action of either the OP or her sister. I'm going to guess that both grew up with punishments like OP describes. One goes one way and the other goes another. Your issues with each other could have been handled differently. But I'm guessing you're not going to ground yourselves. Oop, I've told you my sister's kids destroyed my home and abused my dog, and that I don't condone spanking, but they need to clean up their mess and be held accountable. And what you got out of that was I'm a harsh parent? Update post, June 14, 2024, 2 days from OG post. Someone either sent my sister my original post or she is on Reddit herself and saw it. She texted me a link to my post and said she can't believe I'm airing our family drama online. She told me she was leaning towards working out our differences, but now that I've posted it on here, she's done and blocked me. Since I can't reach her by phone, I'll address her on here since she's clearly reading this. Allison, I do love you and have always cherished our relationship, but if you feel like you're done, then that's okay. I can't change your mind. Look at me talking about feelings, you should be proud. At this point I'm pretty done too, so here it is. You're family, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be a pushover and allow your children to behave the way they did in my home, especially pulling Bella's hair and smacking her in the face. That was animal abuse. It was all completely unacceptable, and I don't understand how you allow them to behave the way you and Steven allow them to. Some people have suggested I send you a bill for the damage your kids caused, but I'm not going to do that. I'll pay for the repairs, but only because I know this will never happen again, since your kids are not welcome back at my home unless you drastically change your parenting style and finally implement legitimate discipline. I'm still not saying you need to physically discipline them, but you need to do some form of actual discipline before it's too late and their future is ruined. I don't understand why you have decided to gentle parent, or whatever your form of gentle parenting is, and it has changed you as a person. You don't act the way you used to, and now you are offended by everything and don't agree with the way anyone else does anything. I just don't understand what happened. I encourage you to look at some of the comments on the original post to prove to you 99% of people would have done exactly what I did in the situation, and I was not just being harsh. There has to be consequences for bad behavior, or else you are doing your kids a disservice, which is not kind on your part. When you read the comments, some have good parenting advice and others are harsh. But hey, that's life, it's not so gentle. Relevant comments. Commenter, this doesn't sit right with me, I'd suggest having a talk or some sorts. Oop, she's blocked me and I can't call or text her. What do you suggest I do? Send her a note via pigeon? Commenter, do you have any mutual friends who could send messages? Oop, I'm not getting any of our mutual connections involved in this drama. If she blocked me, she clearly doesn't want to talk anyway. Update post to June 18, 2024, 4 days later. Allison, not her real name, finally reached out to me to talk. She read some of the comments and sees that most people think she is neglecting her kids due to her parenting choices. She asked if I agree. I told her I think there could definitely be some changes in the way she parents. She said she had tried gentle parenting but realizes now that she has gotten it wrong. I asked what her plan moving forward is. She apologized for the way her kids acted and said her and her husband have lost friends over the way her kids act because people don't want to be around them. She said this whole ordeal has been a wake-up call. Allison said she's going to try a different parenting style since gentle parenting didn't pan out very well for her kids. She said she's going to enforce punishment/consequences but still no corporal punishment. I said I think that's great. Her worry is that the kids won't take it well and it will cause even more problems. I told her they'll just have to get used to it. Apparently her husband was never in agreement with the gentle parenting, and has also caused marital issues due to the fact they didn't see eye to eye on it. Now her husband is happy she's finally come around to some form of consequences and punishment for their kids. I told her I think she's making a very wise decision. I still am not happy about what her kids did to my house and dog, but the fact she's willing to change her parenting style so that doesn't happen again makes me feel a lot less angry. And yes, I got Allison's permission to post this update. We really were able to work things out. She really is a good person, just had a lapse in judgment in parenting. Edit. Since this will be the last update/post on this issue by me, wanted to say something about the permissive parenting versus gentle parenting styles. A lot of people commented about gentle parenting, how everyone is explaining in the comments sounds like the kid does something wrong, then the parent asks how they feel, then redirects them to a different task/activity, maybe tells them no but maybe doesn't. And they call the redirection to a different task/activity the discipline or natural consequence part of gentle parenting. That is the exact same thing as permissive parenting because there is still no legitimate punishment or consequence. I'll agree that my sister wasn't doing the form of gentle parenting everyone was describing because all she did was talk about feelings and left out the redirection and the possible no, don't do that. But even after reading all the comments, permissive parenting and gentle parenting sound very similar, if not the exact same. If kids are taught redirection is what happens when they do something wrong, they are going to be completely shocked and confused when there are real consequences and punishment and not just redirection or natural consequences in the real world. If they grow up and steal a car, the police arrest them, send them to jail and make them pay a fine, they will think it's an incredibly harsh punishment and be shocked because all they were expecting was a natural consequence of returning the car to the owner and then moving on with their day. Relevant comment, there were a lot, but I felt like this reflected the general tone of most comments. Commenter, simply because this is a hill I will die on, real consequences are a crucial element of true gentle parenting. Natural consequences does not mean no consequences. Like you said, you steal a car and you get arrested. Those are the natural consequences of your actions. The same is true of gentle parenting. My kid throws a toy at me, the natural consequences are that I am going to put that toy up, because I'm not going to have someone throwing things at me. My kid draws all over the walls, they're going to clean or help me. Depending on age, clean it up. They broke a sibling's toy, they're going to use their own money, toys to replace it. Redirecting is useful at a very young age, before the brain has developed to make connections. Redirecting can be useful when you haven't hit the stage of needing consequences. Kid is frustrated, but hasn't yet thrown something, but redirecting is not the same tool as consequences, and both are vital for true parenting of all types, gentle or otherwise. Anyways, I'm glad y'all are working on it. I wish her and her husband all the best, and your relationship with her as well. Oop, downvoted. The natural consequences you are describing sounds more like the natural consequence of stealing a car would be returning the car to the owner, not jail. Editor's note, there is a lot of discourse from OOP and commenters about gentle parenting and what different people think it means. So what's your opinion? For more stories please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Thanks.